Good afternoon, Your Honors. We will now resume the public panel interview of the candidates for the position of Ombudsman. Let me introduce to you the members of the Judicial and Bar Council who are present in this afternoon's public panel interview. We have the Honorable Congresswoman R. Luistro, ex-officio member representing the Legislative Department. She is the chairperson of the Committee on Justice in the House of Representatives. Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza, JBC Executive Committee Chairperson and regular member representing the retired justices of the Supreme Court. Honorable Attorney Nesauro H. Firme, regular member representing the Academe. Honorable Justice Erlinda Piñera Uy, regular member representing the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. And Honorable Attorney Jose V. Mejia, regular member representing the private sector. Your Honors, the candidates to be interviewed this afternoon are Municipal Trial Court Judge Jason G. Rodenas and Natural Resources Development Corporation Acting President and CEO, retired Judge Benjamin D. Torgano. May we request the candidates to please stand up and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this public panel interview of the JBC? So help you God. Thank you. May we request Judge Rodenas to please take your seat in front, and for retired Judge Torgano to please proceed to the holding area. Thank you po, Judge. You may take your seat po. Your Honors, the first candidate to be interviewed this afternoon is Municipal Trial Court Judge Jason G. Rodenas. The first to interview Judge Rodenas is the Honorable Attorney Jose V. Mejia.
Thank you, Attorney Cuevas. Good afternoon, Judge Rodenas.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. So you are currently a municipal trial court judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I think it is fair to assume there's still a long ladder for you to climb in the judicial hierarchy.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm just curious, what motivated you to apply for the very lofty position of Ombudsman?
Well, Your Honor, first is public service, Your Honor. Remember, if appointed as Ombudsman, there's a great challenge in serving the public, the whole wide challenge to serve the Filipino people. So, although as a judge, municipal trial court is also you can also serve as to the people, but having a higher position to serve the Filipino people, I think that's my calling also. And of course, as we know for the fact today, the public has lost confidence in the government regarding the corruptions that abound today. So probably I could make a great impact and lasting change in the Ombudsman that would also serve the Filipino people as well.
Because of your application, I think it is also safe to presume that your passion for fighting graft and corruption is very strong.
Yes, Your Honor.
At what point in your life or what activities have you undertaken in the past along this direction?
Regarding the fighting corruptions? Of course, Your Honor, first before I joined the judiciary, I was also first a prosecutor. Then, in the prosecution office, I serve with neutrality, impartiality, those litigants who come to seek redress in the office of the prosecution. Much as well also to when I joined the judiciary, I also serve with integrity and probity to those stakeholders who come to seek justice. So by that alone, maybe I could assure that I am driven to fight corruption, Your Honor.
Can you please tell us in brief the mandate of the Office of the Ombudsman?
Well, the mandate of the Ombudsman as provided in Section 12 of the Constitution, and as re-echoed in RA 6670, is that the Ombudsman and his deputies, being the protectors of the state, shall act promptly on any complaint on any complaint filed before it in whatever manner against the public officials or any hearing officials against the government, and see to it that proper resolution is served, criminal, civil, or administrative liability.
Can you give us an idea on what will you do and seek to achieve in the first 100 days of your office as Ombudsman?
Well, Your Honor, as I send the proposals, the short-term and long-term, well, of course, there is a connotation, or there is a pending cases in the Ombudsman that may construed as inordinate delay. So, if ever I be appointed, luckily, then first thing that I would do is to see to it to ensure that those pending cases will be resolved promptly and expeditiously, giving time frame within which to resolve. Because as far as the Ombudsman is concerned, the rules of procedure, there are timeline, which I think is long enough. Remember the fact finding, it will be 6 to 12 months. The preliminary investigation would be 12 to 24 months, and the resolution. So why not keep it a little less so that all cases pending therein will be resolved promptly? That is as far as the case is concerned. But of course, in the long term, if I will be luckily appointed, I have plans for the Ombudsman that will definitely not only reduce or mitigate the corruption, but prevent it as well. That is my proposal. The prevention, because as of now, Your Honor, we see the actions of the government is reactive. Once there's a corruption that happens, here comes now the different agencies calling for investigation. In fact, independent bodies will be created by the President. The Ombudsman is also there, the DOJ. But we are only on the reactive side. Why not we go on the proactive side? Prevent the corruption at its very core, the grassroots, so that they would know corruption as all to speak of. I will introduce therein the creation of a committee, organic committee, maybe directly from the Ombudsman or any separate entity that would see to it those government institutions who has a bidding process involved in the transaction would see to it that they are performing above board the process that they are performing. Look, in the DPWH, as media outlet has been reporting, that DPWH is allegedly plagued with corruption. Why not create a committee there, organic committee, that will see to it that the bidding process is not rigged? As I've seen in the Senate hearing, probably it's Senator Estrada who asked some of the resource person there, the contractor, and asked, why is it that you have only a 250,000 capitals, but you bag a 5 billion project? So that alone, Your Honor, if there is a committee there in the Bids and Awards Committee in the DPWH, I think corruption will never set in, because as mandated by the Constitution and the Ombudsman law, the Ombudsman has a oversight function regarding the corruption, inefficiency, fraud of any instrumentalities of the government. So we should create there a committee to see to it that those bidding process is above board. In the bidding process, there is a financial and technical legal qualifications. So by that alone, if this company is not legally, financially, and technically capable, why award those contracts to them? Not only that, Your Honor, from bidding, until the implementation of the so-called projects or any goods or services provided by the government, Ombudsman must have a say on it. They must probably get clearance that all those projects have been implemented above board according to plans and specifications. So probably that's my short-term and long-term plans for the Ombudsman if I am luckily appointed, Your Honor.
Thank you. That's my final question, and good luck,
Thank you,
Judge
Your Honor.
Rodenas.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Attorney Mejia. Our next interviewer is the Honorable Justice Erlinda Piñera Uy.
Thank you, Attorney Cuevas. Good afternoon, Judge Rodenas.
Good afternoon, Honorable Erlinda.
Yes, follow-up question. Actually, some of my question pertain to your short-term, long-term plan.
Yes, Your Honor.
I did notice that you, in your long-term plan, you suggested to create organic committees.
Yes, Your Honor.
In every department and agency of the government.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you expound on the mechanics?
Actually, no, not in every. Maybe we could have a pilot organic committee. Maybe it's under the Ombudsman or any independent body that
Pricing of. Who
if-
will be the members of
if
the
it would be,
committee?
if it would be, Your Honor, the Ombudsman, well, the Ombudsman itself, because it has an oversight function given by the Constitution and the RA 6770 creating the Ombudsman. So if the Ombudsman itself may create a committee, then probably there is a good chance that to eradicate the corruption at all. As we all know, as we are all aware, the Commission is Audit is also right there. But the Commission of Audit is only a post-audit. So why not we create an organic committee under the Ombudsman that will prevent the corruption at its grassroots level?
So the members will be coming from the agency itself
Yes,
or from
Your
the
Honor.
Ombudsman?
To my mind, it will be coming from the Ombudsman. But if it's not feasible, then probably the Ombudsman, as its recommendatory power to the executive and the Congress, may recommend for other specific organization committee. Right now, that's being made by the President himself. Creation of the independent body to address the corruption regarding the flood control.
How would you handle a situation where a complaint filed before the office of the Ombudsman, if appointed, involves a close friend, a former colleague, or people of strong political influence?
Well, Your Honor, I will stick to the mandate given by the Constitution and the RA 6770 to the Ombudsman, and that is the Ombudsman and his deputies, being the protector of the state, shall act promptly to all complaints in whatever form submitted to it to ensure that those corrupt public officials may be held criminally or civilly liable. Remember the scale of justice. The lady holding the scale of justice is blindfolded. So, of course, I would see to it that I will always keep a blind eye to those. I will not keep a blind eye to those people who seek redress to the Ombudsman. Fair. That would be fair.
Now, as a sitting judge, have you encountered such an experience? Cases filed by close friends or involving close friends, former colleagues, or people of strong political influence?
As of the moment, none, Your Honor. But if ever there would be, then I will still perform the functions that is mandated to me by the Constitution, being a judge, and if being an ombudsman, if luckily appointed. Because if a person of high position cannot perform its function, then he's not fitted to that position.
How do you define moral courage in public office? And if appointed, how would you demonstrate your moral courage and independence from political influence?
Well, moral courage is performing your functions without fear or favor. Now, if ever I'm confronted with those scenarios that may have an influence in me, then I will still stick to the duties that is mandated upon me. Because presently, as a judge, if I sit in the courtroom, I am not performing on my personal capacity. I am performing as a judge for public service. It's not me, but it's the position that I carry.
My last question, beyond prosecuting corrupt officials, if appointed, do you think the Ombudsman should take a role in educating and empowering citizens to fight corruption?
Yes,
Please
Your Honor.
explain your answer.
Yes, Your Honor, that would be part of the proactive approach. That should have been done by the... I am not saying that it's not being done by the present Ombudsman, but of course, if I be appointed, I will take a proactive approach because I want to prevent the corruption at the inception. Because if there would be if the corruption would be eradicated before it comes, then there's no corruption to speak of. No grease money, so to speak, no lagay, no kickback, so to speak, because that's mainly the function of the Ombudsman. But today, as I see it, the Ombudsman, as well as other government agencies, is merely on a reactive mode, not on a proactive mode. So if ever I be appointed, I will be driven to the proactive approach in order to eradicate the corruption as a whole.
So that was my last question. Good luck to you, Judge Rodenas.
Thank you, Honorable Erlinda.
Thank you, Justice Uy. Our next interviewer is the Honorable Congresswoman Reyes Luistro.
Good afternoon, Judge Rodenas.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Your career reflects a mix of judicial, prosecutorial, and private sector experience.
Yes, Your Honor.
3 years as an MTC judge, served as a prosecutor, legal officer of private and public offices,
Yes,
as
Your Honor.
well as staff roles
Yes,
in
Your Honor.
trial courts and even in DOJ. Question, Judge, is how has this diverse background prepared you for the Ombudsman responsibilities?
Well, Your Honor, with that diverse background, I can see that I am very much prepared in handling the office of the Ombudsman. Why? Because I have been to private practice. I have been a litigation lawyer. I've also taught in the law school. I've become a prosecutor, and also as a judge. So, in that all sense, maybe I could address well the grievances of all people.
What experience of the various agencies you came from do you think you will utilize in curbing anti-graft and corrupt practices in the Philippines, in the office of the Ombudsman?
Yes, Your Honor, I think so, and very well so. Because in the private practice, you also litigate there, see to it that just has been done. In the prosecution, also, it's just a similar scenario in the Office of Ombudsman, where the Ombudsman also prosecute. Then I think by that alone, Your Honor, I could very well use my experiences being an ombudsman. And also, as a presiding judge, Your Honor, to see to it that not only the prosecuting the corrupt officials, so to speak, but also giving him the due process also. Because as we all know, even though the government official is accused of something, he is still innocent until proven guilty. He has also a right, much also the right of the Filipino people. As we all know, the rights of one ends when the right of other begins. So there should be a fair balance, Your Honor.
I understand the fair balance that you are pronouncing, but we have to consider, of course, that alike in your previous post and even in your current post, in the Ombudsman, you will be dealing with respondents who are government officials with the impression of having a network of influence.
Yes, Your Honor.
So how do you think will this be different from the previous post and the current post that you're handling right now?
Maybe it would differ a bit, but of course, of my position, previously a prosecutor and now as a judge, and of course, with my plans for innovations in the Ombudsman, that is the proactive approach, I think the corruptions that is mandated by the Office of Ombudsman, which is the so-called watchdog, will be eradicated altogether. Not only reactive approach, but altogether eradicated.
For my second question, Judge, per records, a prior complaint was filed against you.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's by Judge Maria Teresa Lociano.
Yes, Your Honor.
This regards your act of improperly acquiring a copy of decision in a case involving a former client,
Yes, Your Honor.
which later you admitted and apologized for. Do you confirm that?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you reflect on this incident today? And what lessons have you drawn from it about propriety and professional responsibility that will guide you if appointed as the next ombudsman?
Well, that complaint, Your Honor, a written complaint, that actually is mere lapse of judgment on my part. Because as I answered that, Your Honor, the decision was already released officially. Okay? Probably that's on June 10, and I secure a copy on probably July 25. I just secure it because, Your Honor, I just want to know the results of the decision because I happen to be on top of it. Both parties, I am in as counsel, and of course the other parties are also a friend of mine. So it's just a curiosity that led me to it. But of course, what I'm saying is that the decision has already been officially issued. Officially. And I just get a copy to know the result thereof. Probably it's just a lapse of judgment that may not entail, that we should not measure up my being as my being in this position, Your Honor, because it's just a curiosity that led me to get a result. Because as a lawyer, Your Honor, you always want to see what happened to the previous case that you handled, specifically if it's already reached the decision stage, so that if ever similar situation would arise, you will know what happened, what went wrong, whether you win or whether you lose. And you could learn from it, acquire knowledge from it, and be a better version of yourself. That's only, that led me to it, Your Honor. But I admit I sincerely apologize with that one. And in fact, Judge Lugalniano there did not also vouch for my being, Your Honor, but for myself. He's not against me, but just that on that aspect that I get a decision, Your Honor. I get that copy of decision.
What I heard from you, Judge, is the justification
Yes, Your Honor.
for acquiring the copy of the decision complained of by Judge Maria Teresa Lociano. The question now is, what lesson did you get from that?
Well, Your Honor, I must grow from the lapse of judgment that I may have been committed without bad faith on my part. And on a similar scenario that may happen, probably I will not do the same again, Your Honor.
Thank you. For my third question, Judge, Republic Act number 3019, which is the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, has been in effect since 1960. In your view, does the law remain responsive to the current forms of corruption in the government?
To my mind, Your Honor, it's still a good law. The only thing that should be done is to implement it at its core. So implementation is the only way to animate that Republic Act 3019, Your Honor.
May we know which part of the implementation are you trying to refer to? You are saying that the law is still a good law, and what we need to do is to implement the same. May we know which aspect of the implementation would you like to fortify?
Because, Your Honor, I think it's section 20 of the 6-7... I don't know. I think there's a section there, Your Honor, that speaks for the ill-gotten wealth, Your Honor. So probably we could use that not on a reactive approach, but on a proactive approach. The Ombudsman must already conduct in itself a lifestyle check from other sources. Example, the SALN. It can be juxtaposed to the present material things that a supposed government employee has. If it's disproportionate, then there is a prima facie evidence that there is a corruption that happens. Then, in that case, the Ombudsman can implement those, Your Honor.
Okay, and I understand, and of course you will acknowledge also a lot of laws on corruption were passed, no?
Yes, Your Honor.
We have this, the 3019, the
1379.
procurement law, which is 9184.
Yes, Your Honor.
Meron din tayong code of conduct and ethical standards for public officials and employees. We can also consider the AMLA law,
Yes, Your Honor.
no?
Yeah.
Kung tutusin, we have a number of
Yes,
laws
Your Honor.
already which address corruption in the country.
Yes, Your Honor.
If you will be given the chance to be appointed as the next ombudsman, would you advocate for their codification under one anti-graft and corrupt practices code?
Yes, Your Honor, that would be an impactful procedure, Your Honor, because as of now, even lawyers, much less the spectators and stakeholders, they are not so abreast with that several divergent laws of us. So if ever I would espouse for that codification in order that it may be read by the Filipino people, they will know how to respond to it, they will know what rights they have in order for their grievances, and also as well as to guide the lawyers, the ombudsman as well, and the public as a whole regarding that laws that were the several laws that were enacted.
You mean they will be more guided,
Yes, Your Honor.
having all of them under one code
Yes, Your Honor.
instead of separate laws?
Yes, Your Honor. Because of the
Okay.
different laws, Your Honor, probably even a lawyer of caliber is confused also.
Okay, so kanina I've been hearing about the proactive
Yes, Your Honor.
vis-a-vis the reactive, no?
Yes, Your Honor.
With your inclination towards a proactive ombudsman, question is, although you have discussed this initially, would you institutionalize the power of the ombudsman for a lifestyle check?
Yes, Your Honor. In fact, although it is in the power of the ombudsman actually, but the problem, I think the concern is there is no yet rules or procedures regarding the lifestyle check. So if ever I would be appointed, that would also be one of my improvements that will undertake regarding the rules or procedures on how to go about with the lifestyle check vis-a-vis the SALN, because SALN is a document. Then by that, if the public official assets is disproportionate for his or her income, then there's a prima facie evidence that there's a corruption. Then, if there's a corruption, we will go now to the mandate of the ombudsman to initiate proceedings motu proprio, to see to it that indeed this ombudsman has a wrongdoings, malfeasance, misfeasance, or nonfeasance.
Okay, would you advocate for the power of the Ombudsman to subpoena bank records?
Yes, Your Honor. I think it is also, to my mind, it's also given as a waiver in the SALN that the ombudsman, the declarant there is waiving all the rights regarding the power of the ombudsman to collate records regarding his financial status, Your Honor.
So is it your submission that when one submits a SALN, he is actually waiving his rights also against, with respect to the bank secrecy law?
To my mind, yes, sir, because the declarant already signed it that is waiving it. But of course, Your Honor, regarding that bank secrecy law and other data that is incorporated in therein, maybe although this the position, my position there is that it must be a public document, but also it has a public in nature also, some of the informations therein. So regarding that one, Your Honor, the publicity of that one, if I may, maybe there should be also a balance between the publicity and the right of the public to know. Because as I said, the right of one ends when the right of other begins.
There is a a Supreme Court decision which says that despite the grant of power to Ombudsman to subpoena bank records under RA 6770, the same must be subject still to a court order.
Yes, Your Honor.
So to go back to my
That
question,
should be my answer.
would you want the Ombudsman to have its own power to subpoena bank records in a way that it will not be dependent anymore with the court?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. In order to perform its mandate, because if the mandate of the ombudsman is delimiting, then how could it perform its core functions in carving out the corruption? So definitely, it should be given a wide power in order to curb and eradicate the corruption at its grassroots level, Your Honor.
Another challenge to the investigative power of the Ombudsman, and even I believe in their prosecutorial power, is the power to freeze the assets, which under the current law is initiated by AMLA with the Court of Appeals. Question is, would you advocate that the Ombudsman be given its own power as well to issue a freeze order?
I think so, Your Honor. To my mind, it should be given through maybe a legislative enactment in order that it can perform well its functions. If it is decapitated by some other issuances or rules, then how could it perform its full mandate, Your Honor? So it would be just a toothless tiger, if so to speak. You have been given this, but you cannot do that.
Well, with your answer, you're espousing for the grant of power to subpoena bank records as well as for the power to issue freeze order. The last question on that line of thought is, how do you balance that with the due process, right to due process of public officials facing cases in the Ombudsman?
Well, Your Honor, as enshrined in the Constitution, specifically Bill of Rights, Section 1, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, and property without due process of law, nor be denied of equal protections of law. That's the fundamental law of the every citizen that should be balanced also with the acts or intrusion of the government. So I think there should be still a balance because, as we know, even though the accused, alleged officials is seemingly by evidence is guilty, but still there should be a due process and equal protection law should be applied to him or her.
There are three significant stages in the proceeding of the Ombudsman. One is the case build-up, although the same is, I think, disregarded with the 2025 rules. Second is the preliminary investigation. And third is the trial, which stage among these three stages of the proceedings do you think the Ombudsman can exercise its power to subpoena bank records or can exercise its power to issue a freeze order?
To my mind, Your Honor, that is on the preliminary stage because that is the time when the Ombudsman will evaluate the evidence and to prove by quantum of evidence that's reasonable proof beyond reasonable doubt if that alleged corrupt officials has violated any law because the fact-finding committee case build-up is conducted by the unit of the Ombudsman. So it's only a documentary process to guide the preliminary investigation process to be conducted by the Ombudsman to see to it that indeed the corrupt officials have done wrongdoing. So I think in that specific preliminary investigation, that's the time that they would be given. Because if they would not be given, then because after the preliminary investigation, they would finally make an information and charge the accused for the appropriate offenses. So, if the Ombudsman will not be given on that in that preliminary investigation stage, how can it polish airtight the accusation against a specific government officials? So I think in the preliminary investigation stage, Your Honor.
For my last question, Judge, under the existing rule of the Ombudsman, they have the power to issue contempt order. Suppose you have a respondent who is already meted with preventive suspension, but the court issued a temporary restraining order on the preventive suspension order. Question: will you exercise your contempt order power to be able to implement the preventive suspension order?
Come again, Your Honor. I was a little bit lost.
Under the existing rule of the Ombudsman, they have a power to issue contempt order.
Yes, Your Honor.
You have a respondent who has been meted with a disciplinary action of preventive suspension order. However, she went to court and the court issued a temporary restraining order to stay the implementation of the preventive suspension. Would you exercise your contempt power to implement the preventive suspension order?
Well, Your Honor, even though the Ombudsman has its power of contempt, but of course the Ombudsman must also see to it that rules and procedures are being kept. In other words, we are government of laws, not of man. So whatever be the stoppage made by the other courts, if it's whether it's be right or wrong, then the Ombudsman also must respect that one, Your Honor, because otherwise we could have an anarchy where we would not respect the laws of a legally competent authority given.
Thank you, Judge, and good luck on your application.
Thank you, Honorable Luistro.
Thank you, Congresswoman Luistro. Our next interviewer is the Honorable Attorney Nesauro H. Firme.
Thank you, Attorney Marife. Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'm supposed to ask you three sets of questions. One from the senator, one is a what do you call that, phone-in question, no? But the third one will be my own set of questions. The senator's question was about lifestyle check, but you have addressed that already.
Okay, Your Honor.
I'll now ask first the question that was sent to the office of the executive officer of the JBC. I'll just try to remove names, for their protection. So this is the question. Judge Rodenas, before being appointed as a judge, he was an in-house counsel of a congressman and its business, including this SunWest Corp construction. The question is, will there be a conflict of interest if in case you are appointed as the ombudsman, given the current issues that confront this congressman?
To my mind, Your Honor, to my mind, there would be no conflict of interest. Why? If luckily I be appointed there, I said a while ago that I am performing there not on my personal capacity, but on the office of the Ombudsman. Well, I will go to the mandate of the Ombudsman as enshrined in Section 12 of the Constitution and re-echoed in RA 6770 that the Ombudsman and his deputies as the protectors of the state must act on any complaint filed therewith on any instrumentalities, government, or against any official, and to see to it that proper criminal proceedings, administrative, and civil liability must be filed. So I don't think, to my mind, Your Honor, even though even though that I am a previous employee of that one, I don't think that there would be a conflict of interest, and I would still perform the mandate of the office, just like the blindfolded woman who holds the scale of justice. It must never turn a blind eye to anybody.
Thank you, Judge. I'll ask my own set of questions. So, number one, if appointed as the ombudsman, what can the stakeholders expect from you?
Well, as I espoused a while ago, Your Honor, I would proactively see to it that corruption is curbed at the grassroots level. Because if we do that, then there would be no corruption at all. If I may, it just come to my mind. Remember when Senator Alan Cayetano was interviewed during his debate probably in the vice presidential race. He was asked what appropriate penalty should be given to the corrupt officials, and he said that it's not the actual penalty, but it's the certainty of convictions. That's the criminal science. He said that it's the certainty of conviction. He said he further claims that to quote, sabi niya, nagnakaw ng tinapay, ay nagnakaw ng, basta nagnakaw ng tinapay or antibiotic, kulong. Pero kung nagnakaw ng pera ng malaki, magiging congressman. Pag nagnakaw ng mas malaki, magiging senator. That was he said during the debate. And he further said that even in the LTO getting the license, there is already a corruption. Even in buying a house in the BR, there is already a corruption. So, if we could only stop that corruption at the very heart, I think there would be no corruption to speak of. As we would note, as I would note, the collection of the BIR 2024, year 2024 is almost 2.85 trillion, Your Honor. The board of the Bureau of Customs is almost a trillion, Your Honor, 900 plus billion. The total revenue of the Gaming Corporation is 400 billion. The PCSO, I think that would be 62 billion. The PAGCOR, 112 billion. So why I'm trying to say this? Because the question is, are we really sure that that amount are those amount that should be given to the government? Probably there's more to it, and we do not know. That's why if we curb corruption at the very core, maybe our government remittances, our collection would be augmented, and probably the government expenditures would be high to address the social services of our nation, the health, the education of the Filipino people. So we just prevent it from happening. That's why I'm exposing a plans for creation of the committee there, just like the independent body of the COA. We will also create there a committee in order to address that one. If we prevent the corruption at its very core, if we also enhance the government collections, Your Honor, probably, let's say we have increased the correction for a 500 billion or a trillion, then that is so astronomical amount that would pave the way for the social services of our nation, Your Honor.
Thank you. So my next question would be, you have been a candidate for an elective office
Yes, Your Honor.
under BHW party list last 2019 midterm
Yes, Your Honor.
election. Okay. So question now is, how apolitical are you? Which, no, we mean that an apolitical individual, no, is best or is an ideal characteristic or quality of an ombudsman.
I could certainly say, Your Honor, as far as I'm concerned, that I am very much apolitical. Why? Because I've already done it when I am in the prosecution. Some individuals will come to me to give favor, but I declined it, Your Honor. Of course, luckily in this judicial post, there is no. And perhaps if there would be somebody who would ask favor, I would readily decline it, Your Honor. Because as I say, if I am to assume a post, the ombudsman, as it is, I am assuming it not on my personal capacity, but on the office of the ombudsman, which has mandate enshrined in the Constitution and re-echoed in the RA 6770, creating the ombudsman.
Thank you. So one of the qualities of a good ombudsman would be independence.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Can you tell us an instance where you displayed your independence, whether in the discharge of your duty as a judge or when you were a prosecutor or you've been in the PPA?
A scenario when I have discharged my independence.
Yeah, you have displayed your independence.
Probably I could say when some lawyers appearing in my court where he or she is my close friend and even a godmother or godfather of my child, but still I did not recuse from hearing that one, because I do believe that once I assume the office there, I am not the Jason Rodenas that I am performing myself, but I am a judge there performing my duty. Much like if I would be appointed as the ombudsman, I will be performing not Jason G. Rodenas, but as an ombudsman who is the watchdog and the protectors of the state.
Another quality, judge of a good ombudsman, would be the possession of integrity.
Yes, Your
So the
Honor.
question is, was there an instance where your integrity was put to test or was tested, and how did you navigate through that?
As far as I concerned, I think it's not yet put to test. But if ever it would be put to test, being a judge and being in the ombudsman, if I would be luckily appointed with the help of God, then I would still stick to the mandate of the ombudsman given to me. Because, like I said, if I cannot perform my mandate, then I am not fitted to that position. So I must do what the Constitution, what the law says so. Not on my prerogatives, but the mandate of the office that is in it.
I understand, Judge, you're living a private life, correct? You have children of young age,
Yes, Your Honor.
relatively young age. No? So my question now is, do you foresee any significant changes in your lifestyle should you be appointed as the next ombudsman? And how would you cope with that?
Probably I would see in the near future, if I'm appointed, is the security of my family, because if I would be luckily appointed as the ombudsman, there are high profile names that maybe I would be encountered, because as a graph buster, as a watchdog, necessarily I would be against those high ranking officials. Then it is probably a risk factor that I must endure.
Not to mention the fact your children live with you there in Legazpi.
Yes, Your Honor.
So how about you will be separated with them?
Well, Your Honor, if one is seeking for the position of higher position, one must be ready for the sacrifices that entails in it.
So next question, Judge. How much value do you give to public perception?
The public perception must be beyond reproach. The ombudsman must do things that may not seemingly or see that he is favoring other individuals. Because as we said, even as a judge and as an ombudsman, if luckily appointed, he must be impartial and must appear to be impartial. Even though appearance to be impartial, it must be held high, Your Honor.
So next question, and you understand that when you become a prominent individual, being the ombudsman, you would receive a lot of criticisms.
Yes, Your Honor.
So how would you handle those criticisms, Judge?
Criticism or risk are the necessarily connected in the office of the ombudsman. So I would take it as it is, confront as it is whenever the needs arises or if warranted. But I would not be, as an ombudsman, be emotionally carried upon by those criticism. Because if I would be carried on by that criticism, then perhaps my judgment would be impaired, Your Honor.
So let us assume, Judge, that you are now appointed as the next ombudsman.
I hope so. Thank you.
Yes. Let us just assume for a few minutes, no? And it's already 2029. So you understand the scenario. Tumawid ka na to the next administration.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sige. Now, I have 5 things here in my mind that I want you to rank. One being the most significant for you. Number 5 would be the least significant. Okay? So number 1 would be the president that appointed you to this post. Number 2 would be the incumbent president. So it's 2029. In other words, a new president. No? Number 3 would be the public, including their perception. No? So in other words, the stakeholders. Number 4 would be the safety of your family. And number 5 would be your personal goal, your mission and vision to the office.
So, ranking 1 being the highest.
The most significant
most-
as far as you are concerned.
Although I have been called upon to rank those scenarios, but I will rank them. But I will first make a preliminary. Although I am called to rank the scenarios, but on my part, as I said, if I am luckily appointed, I should assume the office of the ombudsman not on my personal capacity, but on the office and mandates that is been given by the Constitution and the law. But given the situation, to just answer your question, maybe I would rank first my family. What's that again?
This president, the present President, the President by 2029, the family, public, and then your personal mission, your goal.
First, the personal mission, because I am the ombudsman, if ever. So that would be my first mandate. Number 2, the family. Number 3, the public. Number 4 is the current president. And number 5 is the previous president. Why those? Probably it will be asked why I rank the president, the current president, the current president, and the past president 4 and 5. Because when an ombudsman is appointed by the president, she should not have a debt of gratitude to the appointing authority. He or she must be independent and must perform his duties or her duties without fear or favor. There's nothing owed. There should be nothing owed to the president, the appointing authority, because that is his function to appoint. You are not there because you have been picked, but you are there because of your qualification, that indeed you can handle well, you could properly dispense well the office of the ombudsman. So by that alone, ombudsman must not think of any favor in anybody.
Thank you. Second to the last question, Judge. No, so if the evidence would warrant, and I know that there would be several persons, most of them public officials, who would help you get this post. No? So assuming the evidence warrants, and these public officials committed some, infractions, involving violation of 3019. So would you have the guts, the courage, the nerve to file criminal and administrative cases against these public officials who were instrumental in getting this post?
Yes, Your Honor, because they are just mere instrument of God for having me appointed as ombudsman, and I do not know anything from them, and I owe it to the people and to the Almighty God, Your Honor.
Last question, Judge. No, so we know that the term of the ombudsman will last for 7 years.
Yes, Your Honor.
So if ever appointed, what significant development in your life would make you decide to quit the ombudsman post? In other words, you would not let that 7-year period end?
I think it should not happen, because if ever I'm luckily appointed, I will definitely perform the ombudsman up to its last drop, Your Honor, to the last extent of my term. Because, as I said, I want to serve the public, the Filipino people, and want to curb the corruption at its very core. Because if we can curb the corruption, prevent it altogether, eradicate it together, probably we would have a progressive nation to live on.
Thank you, Judge. That was my last question, and good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Attorney Firme. Our last interviewer is the Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza.
Thank you very much, Attorney Marife.
Good
afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Justice.
I represent the retired justices of the Philippines.
Yes, Your
So
Honor.
they have sent questions, and they have coursed it through me, and I will ask some of them. First question is, what is the distinction between the right to remain silent and the right against self-incrimination?
Well, Your Honor, the right to remain first, both are enshrined in the Constitution, the right to remain silent and the right against self-incrimination. The right to remain silent is a constitutional right that must be invoked by the person accused while the right to self-incrimination may be waived if the accused has never invoked the same, Your Honor.
It is the main distinction. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Does the Office of the Ombudsman have legal standing to intervene on appeal in administrative cases resolved by it?
A legal standing? Come again, Your Honor.
Does the Office of the Ombudsman have the legal standing to intervene on appeal in administrative cases resolved by it?
To my mind, Your Honor, it still has the legal personality in intervening on the administrative cases on appeal, Your Honor.
Okay. Can the doctrine of condonation be applied motu proprio by the Office of the Ombudsman? I'm referring to acts committed before the Binay case or Binay decision.
If before that abandonment of the Aguinaldo case, to my mind, the Ombudsman has no power to apply the condonation, Your Honor.
Cannot motu proprio apply the doctrine of condonation?
To my mind, Your Honor.
Okay. Is the final and unappealable decision of the Office of the Ombudsman still be subject of judicial review?
First, we must have a distinction on the final executor because under the Ombudsman law, the final executory decision of the Ombudsman is referring to those reprimand, to the slight penalty, suspension of 1 year. In that case, that is already final, unappealable, and executory. However, it may still be challenged before the Supreme Court, Your Honor.
Okay, under EO number 226, institutionalized command responsibility, what elements do you have to prove to make a superior liable for the act of subordinates?
To my mind, Your Honor, first that he knows of the action of his subordinates. Number two, he did not do anything to prevent that the wrongdoings that may have been committed by the subordinate. Number three, if it's acted in conspiracy with those with the subordinates, and of course, if he is in bad faith, Your Honor. That's to my mind.
You mean to say he was in
cahoots.
conspiracy with
Yes.
his subordinates?
Yes, Your Honor.
I think the command responsibility does not come into play if he is personally involved.
If that would be personal, yes,
so
Your Honor.
only when he is not involved.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. You earlier mentioned that you should be proactive
Yes,
to prevent graft and corruption.
yes, Your
How
Honor.
do you prevent ghost projects?
Well, Your Honor, ghost projects may not come into being or into fruition if we have prevented it after all at its inception. Because if we have prevented it, there would be no ghost project to speak of.
How do you
Ghost,
prevent it?
yeah, as my
my
proposal,
question.
as my proposal, Your Honor, I would create an organic committee, whether it's directly under the Ombudsman or a separate committee as recommended by the Ombudsman to the President and to the Congress to enact laws to ensure that all, example, for the billing process is above board. There's no favor given to those bidders that may have failed the document legal and financial. So in that case, Your Honor, I think the ghost project will be eliminated and eradicated altogether. And even more so, if projects or goods and services, it needs the acceptance of the implementing agency. So if the Ombudsman has a say on it and can monitor that the accomplishment of that projects or the goods or services were well within the plan specifications provided in the bids, then there could be no corruption to speak of, Your Honor. Then ghost projects will be eliminated.
As a judge, have you faced a conflict between the letter of the law and the spirit of justice? How did you resolve it? If
In many instances, Your Honor, that's not actually a conflict, but a compassionate justice. Whenever the accused come before the court, and then he would plead guilty to a lesser offense, so much so, then even though the court may or may not accept it, but on compassionate justice, I always accept the plea bargaining that is being exposed by the accused. And of course, when parties, even though as we all know that criminal cases cannot be subject to agreement for that its dismissal, but if the parties come to my court and they have already settled the differences, and in fact, in case of physical injuries, I let them reconcile in court, hug each other, and be as it was before. So much so that they're still friends. So that's a compassionate justice that I am doing in my court. Although the spirit dictates me to do otherwise, but if parties have already settled the differences, then it is legally allowable to have that spirit upheld.
in criminal cases?
Yes, Your Honor, even in criminal cases, if the parties are not anymore willing to proceed with the case, then I will let the private offended party testify why he is not anymore interested in the case, and if it sits well to me that indeed without the testimony of the private offended party, the prosecution would be hard-pressed in prosecuting or proving the guilt of the accused beyond reasonable doubt, then I do dismiss it provisionally, Your Honor. That's a compassionate justice, Your Honor.
A government official diverts funds to a disaster area without proper bidding, but lives were clearly saved. Would you pursue a criminal case against that official?
Well, Your Honor,
Technical malversation.
as said, Your Honor, the means does not justify the ends. So if ever there would be a reading of the bids process, even though it saved the lives of, let's say, hundreds of people, then still he must be held accountable for the wrongdoings that he had. As we all know, we are a government of laws, not of man. We should not put the hands into our law, rigging the older process for the sake that this would be favorable to the parties. Because if that would be the case, we will have a chaos and anarchy, Your Honor.
are the key features of the new Government Procurement Act, or NGPA?
I am not well aware, Your Honor, of that new government procurement, but I am aware of the 9184, the old law, where there is a bidding, there's an exemption from bidding, negotiated, shopping, the negotiated if the circumstances arises, Your Honor.
How about the new one?
If I may be given the chance, Your Honor, probably I could very well legally respond to that one, Your Honor.
But at this time, you do not know it, or you do not know them, the features, key features.
I am not well aware, Your Honor.
Okay.
But if given the chance, Your Honor, probably I could legally give my opinion on that one, on that regard.
Okay, this will be the last question. When your term ends, what one achievement will make you feel truly fulfilled in your duty as Ombudsman?
Well, Your Honor, the very crucial point that I must ensure that Ombudsman should have accomplished is the eradication of the corruption at its grassroots level. It will not only help us progressively, it will help also the government, its expenditures. It will also address the social inequalities. It will also address the social services of the government. Because after all, Your Honor, we are not here, it is not how we live, but it is the legacy that we leave behind. So we must fight corruption for our country, for the Filipino people, because after all, Filipino are really worth dying for.
You succeed in eradicating it, there'll be no need for the office of the Ombudsman.
There's a because I think because that is the watchdog, Your Honor. That's the watchdog. I still thank you very much, Your Honor. May I just read a parting message, Your Honor? Your Honors, I certainly hope that Honorable Jerbil Reyes Luistro, along with the esteemed members of both House and Congress, or whoever among my principled and capable colleagues may be appointed as Ombudsman, will consider my proposals as I have put forth. These measures are not only designed to reduce corruption, but aim to eradicate it as its very roots down to the grassroots levels, ensuring that corruption will have no place in our society. As Filipino citizens, we all have a role to play. Let us rise to the challenge and create a lasting impact. Let us bring about meaningful change even in the face of adversity. In the end, it is not how we live, but the legacy we leave behind that defines us. We must fight corruption. We must fight for our people, for justice, for love of our country. If necessary, we must be willing to give our lives in service of our nation. After all, Filipino are really worth dying for. Thank you, Your Honors.
Thank you, Justice Mendoza, and thank you, Judge Rodenas.
Have a great day, Your Honors and members.
Your Honors, the last candidate to be interviewed for this public panel interview is Natural Resources Development Corporation Acting President and CEO, retired Judge Benjamin D. Torgano. The first to interview Judge Torgano is the Honorable Attorney Jose V. Mejia.
Thank you, Attorney Cuevas. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Judge
sir.
Torgano.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that struck me with your, or by your PDS, or your personal data sheet, is your involvement in the Association of Christian Schools, Colleges, and Universities. Can you briefly give us an idea what made you involved with this particular association?
Yes, Your Honor. I became a university president of Wesleyan University, Philippines. And Wesleyan University is a member institution in the Association of Christian Schools, Colleges, and Universities. And after my assumption of office, I was elected as assumption of office as president of the university. In the next meeting of the association, I was elected as president of the association. The association, Your Honor, is the Protestant side of private education. The Catholic side is the CEAP, the Catholic Educational Association of the Philippines.
Okay, thank you. Going back to, or in connection with your application, may I know how do you see the role of the Ombudsman in maintaining public accountability in today's politically charged environment?
May I answer it in this way, Your Honor? I would like to see the office of the Ombudsman as not confined merely to the technical side of investigation, prosecution, and adjudication of misconduct. The office of the Ombudsman should be the tribune of the people. He has to be the voice and the bridge of the people to the government bureaucracy. And therefore, I have said that the Ombudsman should be an integrity leader. He must be a teacher, a role model, and capable of engaging diverse groups to rally behind the crusade against corruption. The need is for him to be able to engage the public as active participant, not just a recipient of justice, but as an active participant in the crusade against corruption. Because corruption is what obstructs progress, and its pernicious effect affects adversely the moral fabric of our country.
Judge, given your retirement and time away from the judiciary, how do you ensure that you are attuned to the modern demands of public accountability and institutional reform?
You can see in the action plan that I submitted to the Council, Your Honor, that my role would be to ensure organizational and operational efficiency of the office, which means that the Office of the Ombudsman must be manned by professionally competent investigators and prosecutors, but at the same time underpinned by the moral and ethical leadership that they should possess. We also envision the role of the Ombudsman as being able to promote transparency and efficiency. It must address the backlogs, and it must address the timeliness, the issue of timeliness of resolutions, because this is what is eroding public faith in our institutions, Your Honor. The lack of timeliness and the fact that there's a lack also of transparency in the way cases are handled. So, in all of this, Your Honor, I really believe that professional efficiency must be undergirded by moral and ethical leadership. We are not saying that we should not put emphasis on the need to win our cases. We have to win our cases in court. But we have to be sure that when we file cases, we have the strong chance that these will be successful in terms of prosecuting and convicting the accused. So I would like to see an efficient and effective ombudsman through addressing the case backlogs, promoting professionalism and capacitation of its investigators, undergirding their moral efficiency and ethical leadership, and at the same time be role models for the people to see.
That was my final question. I wish you good luck, Judge Torgano, and thank you, Attorney Cuevas.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Attorney Mejia. Our next interviewer is the Honorable Justice Erlinda Piñera Uy.
Thank you, Attorney Cuevas. Good afternoon, Judge Torgano.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
I'm looking at your PDS. Did you mandatorily retire as a presiding judge of the Regional Trial Court?
No, Your Honor. I optionally retired.
Optional. So, at what age was that?
63, Your Honor.
63. And then, you are now the acting president and chief executive officer and member of the board of directors of the Natural Resources Development Corporation. What are your key responsibilities in that capacity?
Well, Your Honor, it is the Natural Resources Development Corporation, Your Honor, is the corporate arm of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Its main task, of course, is to engage in business with respect to activities that are aligned with the mandate of the DENR. DENR exercises the regulatory powers, but the contractual side of all this is performed by the GOCC, which is NRDC. My role here, Your Honor, is to see the balance of earning for the government, but at the same time ensuring a wise and responsible management of natural resources. Also, in the context of ecological faithfulness to ecological integrity. So this also is governance, corporate governance in the public sector. And that was something new to me, because my exposure to corporate governance is with the university. And now it is with the NRDC, Your Honor.
So, in what ways have your responsibilities in your current role and previous professional experiences prepared you for the ombudsman position, including your years in private practice?
Yeah. Your Honor, I have been a judge for more than 2 decades, and I would like to believe that those years I was able to cultivate the discipline of a judicious mind honed by an objective analysis of facts and faithful adherence to the rule of law. I believe, Your Honor, that there is a value in having well-written decisions, because judicial decisions, the acceptability of judicial decisions hinges in a large measure to the clarity and power of the reasoning in the decision. So I believe my 21 years in the judiciary has helped me develop in a modest way the ability to write. Secondly, Your Honor, I have developed the frame of mind that a judge must ensure fairness and objectivity regardless of who the suitors are, regardless of their wealth, power, and station in life. We must apply the law evenly, fairly, and evenly. The problem with the economic side of Philippine situation now is that investors do not come because they do not believe that the playing field is level. And I think we could address that if we have regulatory clarity, predictability, and consistency in the rulings and decisions we make.
Judge, may I also ask you, you mentioned about your experience in adjudication. What about the transition now to the role, if appointed as Ombudsman, of investigation and prosecutorial task?
Yes, Your Honor, we have to pay attention to a responsible and judicious preparation of case building, because it is not the number of cases that matters. It is the victory of the cause that matters, Your Honor.
So you mentioned earlier when Attorney Mejia asked you, you mentioned that you intend to address case backlogs. Now, how would you apply the doctrine of inordinate delay in resolving complaints before the Ombudsman to address case backlogs and ensure speedy resolution of cases?
Yeah. Inordinate delay, Your Honor, is excessive delay, and we should not tolerate that. My first idea on this is the case triaging. The case triaging. Cases shall be triaged for a period of 30 days, separate the priority ones, and those that may be referred back to the respective agencies because they are not that important or they can be addressed by the respective agencies, they can be returned back. The second thing, Your Honor, is case flow management by the use of digitalized platforms. They have done that in South Korea. The experience in India is very inspiring. And I think we can also do a transparent case flow management so people can see where their cases are and who is causing the delay.
Can you achieve this transparency?
digital, Your Honor.
They can
Access to
access.
digital, yes,
Ah,
digital access.
How would you respond to intense public or media scrutiny in cases involving high-profile individuals while preserving the integrity of the investigative process?
Well, we should be open to scrutiny. But at the same time, we have to ensure that the rights of the accused is protected. And the right to privacy is also protected. But we should welcome public scrutiny. The efforts of the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism should be commended because the Ombudsman needs partners, active partners. The fight against corruption, Your Honor, is enormous. And any help that we can get, provided we don't violate the rights to due process of the accused.
How do you define moral courage in public office?
Your Honor, moral courage is the ability to do the right thing, what is moral and what is ethical, in spite of who the powers that may be affected, and in spite of the pressure and threat. It can be threat to life, Your Honor, but we have to do the moral courage. The sword in the scabbard has remained sheathed because there is no moral courage to draw the sword and use it in the fight against corruption. I'm not saying that the Ombudsman should be a weaponized office. Weaponization should not be the context of this, but it should be an aggressive signal to the public and to those in government that we have a vigilant ombudsman that would not wait for complaints to be filed because he's vested with motu proprio powers. If it is necessary and it is for the public good, then the ombudsman should act decisively for the interest of the Filipino people.
May I know if you have encountered any situation wherein you had to exercise moral courage while you were in public service?
Yes, Your Honor. We cannot avoid that as a judge. People come, people present their requests, but at the end of the day, it is your conscience and your faithfulness to the rule of law and to God that matters. And we are not here to please people. We are only here to follow the law and to please God.
My last question, what role should the Ombudsman play in ensuring compliance with procurement laws and preventing ghost projects or anomalous transactions?
Your Honor, there is a program I mentioned in my action plan, the National Integrity and Rule of Law Enhancement Program. It is the overarching program that should be able to address systemic flaws or conditions that breeds corruption to thrive. And it is supposed to be a multi-sectoral effort. We bring people in the academe, people from the religious sector, people from local governments, civil society, the youth, and the academe. The issue here, Your Honor, or the idea here is preventive and corrective justice. And this can be done if we engage in the ability to notice red flag and identify those red flags. That is why it is important, Your Honor, that we engage the public in this crusade against corruption. Through the National Integrity and Rule of Law Enhancement Program, we hope to be able to identify red flags before they can happen and take proactive action, response. Your Honor, the difference between being a judge and being an ombudsman is that being a judge, you merely react to cases filed before you and do render justice to the litigants. In the ombudsman, that is not the case. The ombudsman has to be proactive because he is the representative of the people. The money that is being stolen here is the money of the sovereign Filipino people. It is not really the money of government. It is the money of the sovereign Filipino people. And therefore, it is important that an approach to fight corruption, corruption being systemic, should also be systemic. We should also engage a multi-sectoral support for the purpose.
And on top of this program will be the Ombudsman?
Yes, Your Honor. The Ombudsman will be the integrity leader.
So if appointed, we will watch out for this program.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, that was my last question. Good luck to you, Judge Torgano.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Justice Uy. Our next interviewer is the Honorable Congresswoman Reyes Luistro.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, Judge
Good afternoon,
Torgano.
Your Honor.
I heard a while ago about preventive and corrective justice. Can you please expound on corrective justice?
There are already systems in place, but this system need revisiting because for one reason or another, they contribute to the conditions for corruption to thrive. In the case of the procurement law, Your Honor, my understanding of the Firme case, I think that's still pending, is that we have weak systems. That is why things of that magnitude could happen. And therefore, we need to correct what is wrong in the system. The other thing, Your Honor, is I have also attached to my action plan, I proposed Interagency Council on Good Governance. I hope that the Ombudsman, in tandem with the COA, the Civil Service Commission, the Philippine Competition Commission, the DBM, can work together. Even now, yesterday, we have the AMLA news. Yeah. We can probably do something on correction here. Because otherwise, why does this kind of things happen despite years? Corruption has been there for a long time, but why is it? What is COA doing? What is civil service doing? So we have to break the impression that there is complicit participation of agencies by getting our acts together and jointly work to address the flaws in the systems that continue to enable corruption to continue.
Judge, you've mentioned about the Firme controversy. In pursuit of your corrective justice, can you please identify to us what particular system which is existing needs to be revisited in order to realize the corrective justice that you pronounce?
This involves procurement, Your Honor. How could it happen that this volume of medicines, the quality, and the accounting of this, how could that have happened? What is wrong? We have enacted a procurement law. I still have to study that very carefully. We have enacted a procurement law that is supposed to address these situations so that these things could not happen. So it has to be a holistic approach on and perhaps an overhaul of the law. We need to look into that so that we can address this, because we need to do a lot of explaining to the people. How could that have happened?
So the system that you are referring to with regards to the Firme is the procurement system that they utilized
Yes,
during that time.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Earlier, you likewise mentioned that the DNR exercised the regulatory power while the NRDC exercises the corporate power.
Yes, Your Honor.
May we be enlightened what specific engagements or projects have you launched in line with the mandate of NRDC?
Your Honor, the programs that we now have with NRDC involves reforestation through the Bukidnon Forest Incorporated, which is a subsidiary. The goal there is to be able to reforest and at the same time harvest this for the wood industry, and also the carbon credits derived from this. We also have, Your Honor, the Palawan Wildlife Rescue and Center, which is to preserve endangered species, let them increase, and then for them to be returned back to their original habitat so they can help maintain the ecological diversity and balance that it is needed. The Philippines, Your Honor, is one of the 17 biodiverse countries. And the Palawan Rescue Center and is our flagship project to continue to maintain the biodiversity of this country. The main product of that center, Your Honor, is crocodile farming, because this is an endangered species, and we need to endangered species, and we need to propagate them so that they can be returned to their original habitats and contribute to biodiversity. The other project, Your Honor, is the PCB project in Bataan. This is a treatment plan in tandem with the United Nations Development Organization. Transformers that were manufactured before 1980 contain some chemical elements that are carcinogenic or contribute immensely to cancer. And so many operators, electric cooperatives and electric companies have a lot of this, but they do not have a treatment plan so that they can be cleansed of this. The idea here is not necessarily to raise revenues, but the purpose is more than raising revenue because it is a health hazard. The other thing, Your Honor, with the NRDC is we are the asset manager of patrimonial properties. Those that have been declared by the Supreme Court as patrimonial properties, or those that have been turned over to the DNR by the Philippine Reclamation Authority, all of these are being managed by the NRDC. The Philippine Mining and Development Corporation, which has not performed well, and also a subsidiary of our corporation, which we are about to collapse because a lot of issues. The NRDC is supposed to take over the mining claims of mining claimants who were not able to pursue them and make it earn for the government. Of course, concomitant to that would be the responsibility to cleanse the mining tailings. And therefore, we are engaged also in research on how to do that, Your Honor.
All right. So, in line with your mandate to preserve and propagate biodiversity, how do you think this very distinct experience of yours will be able to contribute in addressing the mandate this time of the Ombudsman?
Yeah. The operation of NRDC, Your Honor, is a corporate governance. The dynamics of a corporate governance, and I believe that the values of transparency, accountability, are values that are elements of a good stewardship of the office of the Ombudsman. I hope to bring the discipline of transparency and accountability in public governance also to the Ombudsman.
Judge, it appears from the records, this is my second question. In 2010, the Supreme Court reprimanded you for undue delay
Yes, Your Honor.
in deciding a case which was submitted for resolution but decided only after 15 months
Yeah.
instead of 90-day reglementary period. May we know what lessons did you learn from this incident?
Your Honor, that is a lapse because we could actually ask for extensions if we cannot do it within the 90-day period. But at that time, Your Honor, I am an undermanned court. I do not have a clerk of court. My legal researcher is also my clerk of court and my interpreter. We do not have, we have only 3 stenographers. So you can understand the role that I am playing. I preside hearings, I write decisions, I manage my court, and I have no clerk of court to help me, Your Honor. So, of course, we cannot really complain because unless appointments are made to beef up the workforce, there's not really much that we can do. But that is a lapse that could have been avoided had we have a more complete workforce. And I believe that one case, Your Honor, for the past 21 years in the judiciary, I must have received and handled about 20,000 cases. But one case I submit should not define me, Your Honor, because I am not that one. I could have done it. Had it been brought to my attention, I could easily ask for an extension of the time to resolve it.
Your explanation is well acknowledged, Judge. Now, for
Thank you,
the
Your Honor.
third question in the written output that you submitted, you described the Ombudsman as a tribune of the people, not only protecting citizens from abuses of power, but also capacitating them to claim their rights and demand accountability. Can you please expound on this?
Yes, Your Honor. Part of the responsibility of the Ombudsman is to bring the people into the table of government. But we need to do a teaching function. We need to inform and educate our people massively on the rights and inform them of the rights and government processes. And concomitant with that, Your Honor, is the ability to inspire them to claim those rights, defend those rights. And the only office, I believe, that could help them achieve that is the Ombudsman as the national integrity leader and role model of good governance. So if we can bring the people into the table of government and make them active participants in the crusade against corruption, not just a recipient of justice, then probably there is hope for our beloved country. Hope for a better days to happen in the future.
You mentioned that by tribune of the people, you would like to bring them in the table of the government, educate the people on how they're going to claim their rights. That is really very idealistic, Judge.
Yes, I know
But
that,
the
Your Honor.
question is, what programs and reforms are you going to introduce to the existing system of the Ombudsman for us to realize the envisioned tribune of the people?
Of course, my overarching framework is the NIROLEP, the National Integrity and Rule of Law Enhancement Program. But corollary to that, Your Honor, I hope, and I have discussed this already with the President of UP, that if I become an ombudsman, can we establish the UP Center for Good Governance? Because educating the people is a massive, in fact, the president of UP tells me it is a quixotic responsibility. But happy are those who dream dreams, but are willing to pay the price to make those dreams come true. And if we can establish a UP Center for Good Governance, where civil society, the religious, the COCOPEA, the Coordinating Council for Private Educational Association, can come in and work together, then probably there is hope that we can achieve this.
In your vision that the Ombudsman becomes the tribune of the people, if given the chance to be appointed as the next Ombudsman, Judge, would you advocate that the SALN be open to the public without any restriction?
I would support that, Your Honor. I would support publishing the SALN, because that is a mechanism, Your Honor, for an effective mechanism for transparency, an effective signal to the people that the government means business in this fight against corruption.
But of course, while the complainant are entitled to due process, the public officials are entitled as well. So how do you think will you protect the right of the public officials whose SALN will be publicized in order that this will not be used as a weapon against them by their political rivals?
Your Honor, my limited concept of public service is when you accept public position, you open yourself to public scrutiny. And part of that is opening your SALN. In fact, the injunction of the Constitution on Article 11, Your Honor, is that a public officer must at all times be accountable to the people, serve with utmost responsibility, integrity, loyalty, and efficiency, act with patriotism and justice, and live modest lives. That is the injunction of the Constitution. Let us make that injunction alive in this present day and age when a lot of money are being stolen.
Judge, would you advocate as well that the Ombudsman be granted the power to subpoena bank records without relying at all from the order of the court?
Well, Your Honor, this time I use a judicial frame of mind. I need a case to be able to subpoena the bank records. That is my understanding. But AMLA can do all the work it can. And in the interagency cooperation between Ombudsman and various government agencies, maybe we can explore a mechanism where there could be joint sharing of data on this. Your Honor, the problem we are trying to solve is an enormous problem. It is the problem that hinders this country to grow. And therefore, let us do everything possible within the realm of law and order to do what is necessary.
As last item from the same line of thought, would you advocate that the Ombudsman be granted its own power as well to issue freeze order?
That can be studied, Your Honor. That can be studied very carefully. Because if at all, Your Honor, it has to be used sparingly, if at all. If at all. But the general idea here is we have a very antiquated law on asset recovery. I think that was an old law already. Perhaps Congress needs to come out with new law on asset recovery. And an ancillary remedy in asset recovery can be the freezing of assets.
But if you will be given the chance to propose a legislative measure in your capacity as, let us say, the future ombudsman, would you initiate one that grants the ombudsman?
I would not want to close the door for that, Your Honor. I am open to that if it is necessary and compelling on the circumstances of a case.
Next question, Judge. We have witnessed a lot of incidents when star witnesses are recanting their own testimony. How do you think are you going to address the present witness protection mechanism system in order to avoid recantation of testimony?
That is why, Your Honor, yes, Your Honor, that is why the UP Center for Good Governance will look into all of this, taking into their lens the use of forensic evidence, the whistleblower protection program, the identification of red flags. All of this will be part of a holistic approach on this. But the signal should be clear that this time we want to do the right thing. And everything that will contribute to that should be promoted.
For my last question, Justice Torgano.
I'm not a justice, Your Honor.
Judge.
I was only a judge.
Prinomote
I
na
hope
po
so.
kayo.
I hope that could have happened, Your Honor, but it did not.
Okay. There is an ombudsman rule that is 2022, which says that the committee reports of Congress should be subjected to case build-up for 60 days, extendable to another 30 days. And that the same should not be considered as an adversarial proceeding and should not be docketed yet. However, Judge, that rule has been changed in 2025 because under the 2025 rules, once received, the committee report shall be immediately docketed and the same shall be calendared for PI, preliminary investigation, immediately. So if given the chance to be the next ombudsman, may we know which rule will you adopt?
I need to educate myself thoroughly on that, Your Honor, to be sure that we are not violating any due process protection for the affected public official. I'm open to exploring a solution to that possible conflict, Your Honor.
That is my last question, Judge. Thank you and good luck on your application.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor, Congresswoman Luistro. The next interviewer is the Honorable Attorney Nesauro H. Firme.
Thank you, Attorney Lea. Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Your
We
Honor.
don't want to be called Justice.
I could no longer be one,
Yeah.
Your Honor.
I have two sets of questions. One comes from the good senator, Senator Alan Cayetano, and he would like to know your stand on the lifestyle check. You know that recently it has been on the news. No, all government officials were asked to undergo to this lifestyle check. What is your stand on that?
My stand, Your Honor, is to support lifestyle check because that is subsumed under the context of living modest lives. A public official must live modest life, and therefore, Your Honor, the bigger part of the Ombudsman responsibility is to close the chasm, the gap between law and practice. The policy and principle against actual life. We have to close the gap between law and practice. That is why lifestyle check, to me, Your Honor, should be a welcome move. But that does not mean that we do not have to put our minds together in crafting the framework for a lifestyle check so that it cannot be used, it cannot be abused to promote personal or political gain.
Okay, thank you, Judge. So I'll be asking my own questions. Number one, if appointed as the Ombudsman, what can the stakeholders expect from you?
I hope, Your Honor, that there will be fairer and faster rendition perhaps timely rendition of resolutions. I hope there would be a more transparent case flow management which can be accessible digitally. And I hope we can have an effective moral transformation of the people that work within the Ombudsman. Because it must start within the workforce. Ethical leadership and faithfulness to moral values must start with the Ombudsman. We have to model ethical leadership in the Ombudsman. That is what I hope to do, Your Honor.
Thank you. So I was looking at your profile, Judge. So my next question is, despite all these accomplishments in your life, why do you still want to become the Ombudsman?
Your Honor, I think this is now the finest moment for all patriotic Filipinos to come forward. And if there is something I can contribute in the fight against corruption, in whatever way I can, including becoming an ombudsman, then let me do that. Our country needs all the participation and support of well-meaning people to achieve a victory against corruption. I hope there is something I can do, Your Honor. I hope and pray that God will enable me to carry out the role of an ombudsman ethically and efficiently and effectively.
Next question, Judge. You have been appointed as the RTC judge in Lawag way back in 1997. And you work in the office of Senator Alvarez way back in 1990.
Yeah.
So in other words, you had been a presidential appointee. You worked under a senator, under the office of a senator. So my question now is, how apolitical are you?
How apolitical? I have always been apolitical, Your Honor. We cannot really be completely apolitical, let me say that. But all my life, I must admit, Your Honor, that in 1987, I ran for a public office. After the Cory government took over, I ran for congressman in the 2nd District of Ilocos Sur, which is my home province. And I failed. Out of 7 candidates, I landed 4th. But I had no money to carry out an effective campaign. We cannot really be apolitical completely, but we should be able to define the lines that politics has nothing to do, or political influence should not interfere in the functions of the Ombudsman.
In connection with that, Judge, so as you mentioned, freedom from influence, and that speaks of independence.
Yes, Your Honor.
Which is one of the qualities of a good ombudsman. So can you tell us an instance, Judge, whether in your present role or in the past, that you have displayed independence?
There were many instances, Your Honor. I was judge of Lawag for 21 years. Lawag is the home province of my mother, Dumlao, and you cannot avoid influential relatives from coming to you. They exert influence. They do everything. But at the end of the day, Your Honor, as I said earlier in my answer to Madam Justice Uy, at the end of the day, it's your loyalty to the law that really matters. And your sense of peace and conscience. Here, Your Honor, I would like to say that the Ombudsman does not need to be the enemy of government. No, the Ombudsman should not be the enemy of government, but it can be the conscience of government. It is there where the reservoir of morality and ethics should reside.
Thank you, Judge. Speaking of that, and that brings me to my next topic, which is integrity, which is another quality of a good ombudsman. So was there an instance where your integrity was put to test or tested, and how did you navigate through that?
Your Honor, integrity as a judge, integrity in the university which I presided, and then integrity now in a government corporation. I mentioned in my personal data sheet, Your Honor, that I am a diaconal minister of the United Methodist Church. I have been consecrated in 1997, and I have carried that office with honor to God and to myself and family. Integrity is all that I have. I do not have wealth. I do not have properties. But this is what I treasure most. When the time comes that we sail into the sunset, there is one thing that I would be proud to say, that I have kept the faith and I have treasured my integrity more than anything else.
Next question, Judge. No, we know that as an ombudsman, you will be having lots of bodyguards. So question is, are you ready for that kind of lifestyle?
Your Honor, I know that the fight against corruption will be long and hard. It is a warfare that can claim my life. But we are all ready for that. Let us internalize the last line of the Lupang Hinirang, ang mamatay ng dahil sa iyo. I think for every well-meaning Filipino that sing the national anthem, that should not be an empty line. That has to be lived in the life that we live. Now, doing with bodyguards, actually, if it is your time, it is your time. No matter how many bodyguards you have. I believe that in all of these things, we have a God who is in control. It is not the number of bodyguards that determine your security. It is your peace of mind and your sense of conscience that you have been doing what is proper.
Thank you, Judge, for that. Next question. How much do you value public perception?
I value public perception so much. I know that public perception can be oppressive, arbitrary, and unkind. But that is the hazard we have to pay. I think it was Justice Malcolm in U.S. versus Bustos who said that people in government should not be onion-skinned. Only the balm of a clear conscience can assuage the wounds inflicted by an excessive public opinion. So, we have to promote public opinion because that is the hallmark of a working democracy.
So I think you have already addressed my next question, which is taking public criticism. So I'll go to the next one. So let us assume you are not a justice, but you are now the ombudsman. So you have been appointed as the ombudsman, and it's already 2029. In other words, tumawid na po tayo, judge, no, to the next administration. So I have 5 things here in my mind, and I want you to rank them accordingly. One being the most significant, no, for you. Number 5 would be the least significant. So number 1 in my list is the president that appointed you to the ombudsman post. Number 2 is the incumbent president. So we have a new president by 2029. Number 3 would be the public, the stakeholders, including their perception. Number 4 would be the safety of your family. And number 5, your personal goal, your mission and vision to the office.
Your Honor, maybe I would rank first my personal goal, but at the same time, my family. My family is my wall. My family is my anchor. And I do not want to lose the affection and respect that I have enjoyed from my family. My family means a lot to me. So my personal goals must be balanced with my love for my family. And then it would be followed by public perceptions and criticisms. And then the incumbent president in 2029, whoever he is. And last would be the appointing president for me.
Okay, thank you.
That would be how I rank them.
Thank you, Judge. No, the next question. We know that there could be several public officials, private individuals who would help you get this ombudsman's post. So they would volunteer. I'll help you, Judge, to get this post. I have connections. If evidence warrants and these individuals, public officials, have case before the ombudsman, would you have the guts, the courage to file a case against them?
First, Your Honor, I have not met anyone who said they will work for my appointment. No one has approached me offering his help for the purpose. Secondly, my loyalty is to the law, Your Honor, and my peace of mind and conscience. When assuming I will get the appointment, I know more people will come out and, oh, we work for you. I was the one who talked to the president. And it was through my...
Kahit na hindi.
Yes, Your Honor, there will be a lot of those that will come. But I know this score. As of now, nobody has come in to say, I will help you.
For my last question, Judge, if appointed, what significant development in your life would make you decide to quit the ombudsman post before your term ends?
Number 1 is death. Number 2 is I think only death can separate me from this office, Your Honor.
That is self-explanatory. Thank you, Judge, for that answer, and good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor, Attorney Firme. Our last interviewer is the Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza.
Thank you very much, Attorney Lea. Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
I heard you earlier, you did not reach the age of 70.
Yes, Your Honor.
You retired at 63.
Yes, Your Honor.
What was the reason for your early retirement?
I was considering other options, Your Honor. And at the time, I already believed that I have done my share in government service, and it is time to change gears. And of course, Your Honor, I was already thinking of going into the academy, which I thought would be a new kind of experience and ministry for me. Well, I think I was correct, Your Honor, because I was elected president of an autonomous university with 12,000 students and 500 faculty and non-academic personnel. And it was a fulfilling experience, Your Honor. You see, Your Honor, the life in the academy is a proactive life. And a university has three trifocal functions: instruction, research, and extension. And this provided me a new opportunity for self-fulfillment. It's a new ministry. It's a new adventure in service. Believing, Your Honor, that education is still the best passport to a better life, the liberating means for people to get a better life is through education. And to be a part of the educational process, to me, is fulfilling.
Now I will ask questions sent by my colleagues, the retired justices. First question is, can you distinguish the right to remain silent and the right against self-incrimination? What is the distinction between the two?
These are actually, to me, Your Honor, are confusing concept. But the right to remain silent
Hindi man confusing. Pagod na.
is a broader right, and the right against self-incrimination is only invoked in instances when the answering would result to in criminal prosecution. That is my limited understanding of these concepts, Your Honor.
What did you teach in college?
I was a university president, Your Honor.
You did not teach.
Well, at one time, Your Honor, there's a law school in the university, and at one time, I lectured on land titles and deeds.
I see. We will not cover that now.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor.
Second question is, does the office of the Ombudsman have legal standing to intervene on appeal in administrative cases resolved by it? It was the office of the Ombudsman who initially resolved it.
I think the trajectory of the rulings here are two-pronged, Your Honor. There was a decision, I think, in 2008 and 2011, I think. One says that the Ombudsman is just like a court. When it renders a decision, it need not be part of the appellate proceedings. But there's also a decision later that the Ombudsman should participate when its decisions are being assailed in the appellate proceedings. Whichever way, Your Honor, I am open to it, to a discussion on it, and explore the best way forward.
Your personal opinion?
My personal opinion is that the Ombudsman is like a court. Its decision is there, and it is up for the appellate court
So
to
it should
resolve.
not intervene?
It should not intervene.
Yes. You were referring to the Bongais case?
Yes,
and
Your Honor.
Samaniego.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Can the doctrine of condonation be applied motu proprio by the office of the Ombudsman? I'm referring to acts committed before the abandonment of the doctrine in the case of Vice President Binay. Mayor Binay.
Your Honor, I think the ruling of the High Court there is condonation does not apply.
Yeah, the question is, now in Binay, the doctrine of condonation was already abandoned.
Yes, Your Honor.
The question here by my colleagues is that can the office of the Ombudsman motu proprio apply the doctrine in favor of a respondent or an accused?
No, Your Honor. He should not. I submit that the Ombudsman should not motu proprio.
Not.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court agrees with you. The Supreme Court agrees with you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
How about, is the final and unappealable decision of the office of the Ombudsman still be the subject of judicial review? Can it still be the subject of a judicial review?
In the finding of probable cause, Your Honor, it should not be subject to judicial review except when there is grave abuse of discretion. In the administrative adjudication of cases, there is an appeal allowed through the Court of Appeals.
Executive Order number 226, institutionalize command responsibility. What elements do you need to prove to make a superior liable for the acts or acts of subordinates?
The question is what
What elements do you need to prove to make a superior liable? What are the circumstances?
Generally, Your Honor, I believe that a superior officer is responsible for the work of his team. He must be responsible for the work of his team. Now, insofar as circumstances that would exempt him from being
No, no, no. When does the doctrine apply? Yun na lang.
okay.
I'm not asking if the superior can be exempted. What are the elements? What are the elements in order that a superior may be liable under this doctrine?
Specifically, Your Honor, I believe the compelling circumstances would be the character of the act in such a way that the superior officer has access and participation to the act of the subordinate, then I believe
Said participation, the doctrine does not come into play. The doctrine of command responsibility comes into play when the superior has no direct participation, but he has committed negligence. He was aware of the acts of the subordinates.
Yeah.
And may okay lang dyan.
yes, Your Honor, he must be negligent.
You heard, you've spoken about, you've touched on corruption earlier. What do you think is the corruption in the Philippines? Is it endemic or is this prevalent?
Both, Your Honor, it is, to me,
No,
it has taken
there is a difference. What is the difference between endemic corruption and prevalent corruption?
endemic.
If you know only.
Endemic to me, Your Honor, is that it is systemic. Prevalence is the widespread character of corruption. I think that is the distinction. I hope that is acceptable, Your Honor.
Anyway, I heard you earlier. What is the cause of the corruption in our country? Is it the system or the individual?
I would like to say, Your Honor, that the system to a greater extent. Of course, the individual is the ultimate actor here. But he acted under an environment that enables him to commit corruption. So,
So we change the system.
so we have to correct the system. We have to correct the system to make it very difficult for individuals to commit.
At this point, what do you want to propose? What do you intend to do to change the system? Do you have anything in mind?
Well, Your Honor, there are a lot of ways to do this. As far as I am concerned, number one, it can be a legislative reform. Number two, it can also be an interagency cooperation between the agencies of government that have something to do with corruption. I mean, as gatekeepers or safeguards or guardians so that corruption will not happen. So legislation is one, interagency cooperation is second. Number three, there has to be a moral regeneration. This is, again, maybe quixotic, but there has to be a moral regeneration. And when we talk of moral regeneration, we start with ourselves.
So no longer the system but the individual.
In a way also, Your Honor.
Okay. Last question, Judge. As a judge, have you faced a conflict between the letter of the law and the spirit of justice?
I am not sure now, Your Honor, but it must have happened. My context on this, Your Honor, is that the High Court, reading on the, I did a little review on the jurisprudence involving the Ombudsman, Your Honor. And I believe in the fact that somehow the Supreme Court has veered towards the context of, or judicial philosophy of, a living constitution, rather than the judicial philosophy of textualism or originalism.
Is, as a judge, your personal experience that
I cannot remember anymore, but I must have encountered that. And if Your Honor asked me how would I have behaved in the face of a conflict between text and the spirit, I would take the side of the spirit of the law rather than the text of the law.
Thank you very much, Judge. That will be all.
Thank you, Your
excused.
Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor, Justice Mendoza, and thank you, Judge Torgano. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honors, that concludes the public panel interviews of applicants for the Ombudsman post. May I now refer you again to the Honorable Congresswoman Luistro to officially close the proceedings.
The public panel interview of applicants for the position of the Ombudsman is hereby declared closed.
Thank you.